Hey, I'm Austin, or most of you may know me as Exteria. And I know a lot of you might be wondering, what did I did while I was gone for about a week? Well, to answer that question, it's not an easy one to explain. I lost one of my beloved family members, James, or for some that may know him as JD Asian. I would like to thank everyone from the bottom of my heart who gave me their condolences and support to help pay for my trip to see James one last time. My words may not be enough, but this really does mean a lot to me. The time I heard the news that James no longer walks this earth, I continued streaming. The reason why I kept streaming during this hard time was because I knew that James would want me to keep doing my passion, and he was the one that also encouraged me to stream. To be honest, there was a time when I felt like not doing it anymore because I had no viewers, which also led to no passion. During the uprising of VTubing, I told James about it, and he said that he would buy everything I would need to for VTubing. After hearing that, I went into motion, making my own original characters. There was a VTuber that caught my interest, which was Restia. His model was a girl holding a cat, and Restia was the cat himself. I always wanted a female mascot, and this idea fit what I was looking for. With this inspiration, me and people making my model were drafting character sheets, which looked like this. It's a girl holding onto a blue seal, and yes, it was a literal seal before, but I wanted to change it since I got inspired by a Pokemon called Gulpin, and we just kept calling it a seal afterward. For the final version of the draft, I got inspired by Kizuna from The Rising of the Shield Hero. So we added a Hori over the girl. During this process, I was telling James very passionately, day by day, how everything was going, and he was so happy to hear that he spent on something worthwhile. Now we know what we wanted our characters to look like. We made our first drafted character sheet, which looked like this. After sending this to my artist, she gave me back this drawing, which, to my surprise, it looked pretty good for a foundation. Over time, we finished the model to what we have today, naming the girl after the artist, Annika, and the seal after me, Austin. After James saw me stream with this model for the first time, he told me that he was so happy to see me use it. Over a year of streaming, I still use the same model that he bought me today. My last time I spoke with him was somewhere around July, and he told me that he was so proud of my growth as a Twitch streamer and as a new YouTuber. To me, I feel like I haven't accomplished anything yet, but in James's eyes, he saw it as if I made it, which made me really happy to hear that he was proud of me. After those words of encouragement, I kept streaming and making YouTube videos after YouTube videos. The current channel today was supposed to be a channel of me doing stuff, but ended up being a TFT channel only. I decided that I would leave that channel the way it is and just make another one for my VTuber adventures. This video that you're watching right now will be the first one on that channel to commemorate James. So, during the time I was streaming, friends and viewers gave me donation towards my plane ticket and helped pay for his funeral. I feel really bad that I kept saying that I would put money into his funeral, but I didn't. And the reason why is because my family somehow managed to raise enough money to pay for everything. What I ended up doing with the money was spending time with my family members, eating out, like a lot. For those who donate to me and have a problem with the way I spent it, just DM me and then we could talk about it. With the leftover money I have from after the trip, I will try to pay off the plane ticket for me, my mom, and my little brother. It's more than what I raised, but I'll manage somehow. Now, let's see where it all went. So, for day one, I didn't really do anything. It's mainly due to because on the day of the flight, we departed around like 4:30 p.m. And from California to Texas, it's a 2-hour flight. So this means that we're supposed to fly from 4:30 and land at 6:30 p.m. But because it's 2 hours ahead, instead of us being there at 6:30 p.m., it's 8:30 p.m. and it takes about a couple minutes to get to the house and stuff like that. So we just chilled at the house and just called it a day and just slept. So the next day, day two, and this is where I met up with Yuzu and Momohime. And we had like a bunch of other family members there too. Some of you might remember Yuzu because I actually used his account to chat in other friends' stream, and honestly, it was pretty funny.
Yo, wait, what the fuck? Who is this? Yuzuki, is this XD? You're at your friend's house right now. That's crazy. But why is your name like that? Are you pretending to be a grill?
Don't take it up with me for his name. He just really likes Izuki Yokari. For whatever reason, we decided to go to the most expensive Korean barbecue ever. Like, this place was like super expensive for like mid food. But besides the point, I actually have one of the best memories here because Yuzu was trying to hit on one of the servers. And to be honest, he's not wrong. She was kind of cute. But besides the point, he said to her, "Hey, can I have your number? Because you look cute." She declined him by saying, No, she already has a boyfriend. So this man just decided to double down and said, "Do you want to have another?" She was just too embarrassed or just too shocked to say anything back, so she left and never came back. So we just had a different server for the rest of the night. Like this was actually really funny, but it actually kind of made my day seeing that. It was actually so funny to see. Afterwards, we went to a boba shop place and I decided to get this drink. And to be honest, it was actually really good if there wasn't like chamoy in it, because I'm not a big fan of chamoy, but this drink overall tasted really good. It was like pomegranate acai or something like that. It was like seasonal, and this actually kind of hit the spot for this hot weather. And while I was inside, I saw this cute little thing. And because I saw Yuzu shot his shot, I might as well try to do it too. And she don't know about me. So I tried. After Boba, we went to one of the biggest capitals in Texas, which is HEB, or in this case, Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's is actually pretty cool. We just went there so we could just take a dump because their toilets were actually really clean. And their gas stations is actually really huge. This picture doesn't do it any justice, but it's like 30 cars can fit this whole entire gas station, plus another one because there's two like big lanes of this one, so 60 total cars that can fit into this gas station. And I think there's also another like 60 on the other side of the building, so 120 like gas station totals or something. It's actually pretty massive. And we saw the mascot of Buc-ee's in the front of the store right here. And that's basically about it I did for day two. For day three, we just went out to get lunch with the family and we just stayed at the house just drinking and just hanging out with the family the whole time. And I actually called it in early for this day because tomorrow is the day of the funeral. All right. Okay. Day four. The day of the funeral. This was actually really tough for me because this is where we all said our goodbyes to James. And my family is Buddhist, so most of my family members became a monk to send them off to the afterlife. I didn't do it personally because I am not like a religious person, but I still like respect the religion. I just didn't become a monk myself. And this was hard. I'm gonna be honest, I actually came in drunk because I was like actually super depressed before we got here. And by the time we got here, I was just crying all the way. And during this day, I was just so actually out of it that I was just crying a lot. Like I couldn't see it like that. I I love you, James. You've done so much for me, and I can never repay you back. But I would try to strive to be the best I can because you supported me on my path, and I will continue on this road until I feel like I succeeded myself, and I hope I can make you proud. After we all said our goodbyes to James, all of us decided to go to like just anywhere to comfort ourselves. And for the family that lives in Texas, they love to drink boba. So we went to like a tea-ish place that gives boba as well. And this was actually pretty good. Personally, I feel like it's just a plain old milk tea. So it's kind of expensive for what it is, but I guess it's good like coping drinks for the rest of the family. After we had our boba, one of my little cousins wanted something to eat because we actually didn't eat anything before we went to the funeral. All I had was like 7 beers and like 3 shots before we went to the funeral. So I actually needed something solid in me to like, function. And we decided to get Korean dogs. And this is actually my first time having it, and it's actually really good. For those that have never had this before, I would suggest it if you like to eat like hot dog or like cheese stuff. It's actually really good with that. And there's a potato version of it, which is also really good. And the sauces are like amazing on top of that. Like there's is like garlic sauce, sriracha mayo, and like the basic stuff like ketchup, mustard, and mayo. And it's kind of like hit the spot, I would say, since I drink a lot. I would actually need something like this. After that, we went to like an Asian marketplace, and as I was walking by, we saw this cute little thing, and went inside like an anime-ish store, and I saw a lot of yaoi. Like surprisingly, a lot of yaoi. After we had our little adventure, after the funeral, we decided to go back home and spend time with the family, just laughing, drinking, dancing, and doing karaoke. After we did all that, I decided to call it a day and actually wanted to go to sleep. Or so I thought. I was staying at Yuzu's place, and what ended up happening was he had an argument with his mom, so I had to step out for a bit. And to put this in perspective, we'll say this is Yuzu's place, and we decided to go to his sister's house so his mom can cool down at that place, and his sister's place is over here. Like it's literally not that far. So we went from Yuzu's place to his sister's place to chill out for a bit, and it was me and Yuzu with other cousins just talking about family stuff, like how we get to know each other. Because there's some cousins in that house that I actually never met before. So we're just trying to like connect on how we know each other. And after we had like our little reunion, an auntie came in drunk and just broke down on us. So Yuzu and the other cousins had to calm her down and put her to sleep. So after that got situated, we kind of wanted to go back to Yuzu's place, but what ended up happening was Yuzu's brother was having a fight with his mom. So we decided to go back to the main house, which is James's place. So instead of us going to Yuzu's place, we went to the main house to chill for a little bit. And after that argument was done, we went back to Yuzu's place to finally sleep. And this has happened, of course, over like 5 hours. So I actually wanted to sleep like 5 hours ago until this happened. After I was able to get a couple of hours of sleep in, I decided that I didn't want to be here anymore. So I decided to go to my other cousin's place to sleep. Funny enough, I made a YouTube video there, which was the Callista Fairy video, and I went to sleep. Because I only got a couple hours of sleep from Yuzu's place for the incident that happened yesterday, I was just so tired that I just knocked out completely. And this is me sleeping while Yuzu was just humping me. For day 6, this was my final day in Texas, and I decided to get breakfast with Momohime and Yuzu. As I was waiting for them, I decided to play with my cousin's pets, which is their dog and their cat. After they arrived, we went to go get breakfast, and we ate at like some breakfast place where they serve like fried chicken steak. And for those that don't know what that is, it's basically if steak was fried as fried chicken. So it's basically fried chicken batter with like a thin patty of like steak. And yeah, we just had breakfast and we went around town. After breakfast, we went to like a nerd store where they sell like comic books, mangas, and like figurines and action figures, cards and stuff like that. And because we are like anime weebs, we decided to look around the Pokemon section and I saw this card. I actually really like Umbreon and I was actually thinking about buying this card, but I knew I shouldn't really spend on stuff that I don't need. So I didn't get it. And the most expensive like Pokemon card I saw there was this Magikarp one for $550. It's pretty insane to me like how expensive Pokemon cards can get. But the Yu-Gi-Oh cards cost even more. I saw Yu-Gi-Oh cards for $750 plus. It's pretty insane like the market prices of these things. And as we were there, Momohime was just buying some bleach card packs, which I got so fun out of it. And this card doesn't cost anything, but it's a good memento to keep just to be like, oh, this is the time that we went there with all the homies from Texas. Afterwards, we went to a place called Anime Tokyo, where they literally only sell anime stuff. And we saw things like, for example, Alice, one of my favorite anime characters. We saw like Farian, I don't know how you pronounce it, and this cool ass Mewtwo, which costs like almost $250. I was asking people around if they could buy for me, but obviously no one can buy it because it's too damn expensive. And they have some like snacks from Japan, which is pretty cool to see. The only selfish thing I bought from that place was like weave shorts, if that's not how you pronounce it. I got the Oshinoko trial deck, which is like a starter deck. The reason why I bought it was because it just came out, and I bought it for kind of cheapish. It was like $23 or something like that, so it was kind of like worth it to me to buy. And we ended up getting like these two cards, which is the From Mother to Children, which it looks pretty cool, and then the card that everyone gets if you buy this pack, which is the Unshakable Center Eye. After we went to our Weebland, we went to go get some ice cream. And the ice cream we went to get is ube and matcha. Everything there was like matcha theme. So this place was pretty okay with that. It was pretty reasonably priced. And as I was eating this ice cream, for whatever reason, it ended up looking like this. I didn't skip the middle. It just looked like this as I was eating, I swear. Then we went to Buc-ee's to get gas before we can drop me off. As soon as we dropped me off to the airport, we were just chilling there until our flight was gonna happen. But we kind of had a heart attack a little bit because our flight was supposedly delayed by like 3 hours because the forecast was really bad, as in like the weather is just not good enough to fly. So this means I either have to fly the next day or we take the last flight. And luckily, they ended up finding a pilot that can fly through this weather. So we ended up going through like a super foggy flight. Here's a picture of me like driving home. Like it's just super foggy. And because of this fog, we landed very roughly. Like it kind of hurt when he landed, the pilot. But honestly, if it wasn't for him, I probably would have never made it home this day. I probably would have went home like tomorrow, which would probably been worse because I actually wanted to go home today, like really bad. Since we had too much stuff that happened in Texas, I kind of wanted to be in a different place. But yeah, it was pretty funny though looking at the pilot though, because I stared at him and he stared at me back as if like he's like, yeah, I accomplished something. And honestly, props to you, man. You kind of got me home somewhat safe, so I can't argue with that. So that was my adventure at Texas, and as you can tell, my voice sounds different in the video because I actually got sick over time for whatever reason. If I travel out and about and come back home, I just get sick. So I'm gonna try to get healthy as fast as I can so I can start streaming again. Until then, I hope to see you guys later.